Good evening. Welcome on in to the evening edition of From Day One. Today we go to court with a bad boy who shows up and wonders why things happen to him.
The record in the matter of city one member, Stephen Brumby, 232465A and B. And Mr. Coulomb, you're muted.
Of course he is. He's an idiot.
Thank you, ma'am. John Goldberg, 30758 on behalf of Mr. Brownlee.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Brumby, your name for the record, please.
That's my name is David William Brownlee.
Okay, and so today is the date that we have Mr. Brumby before the court. The court is going to make a record that on December 12th, defendant zoomed in. Actually, on November 30th, Mr. Brumby was arraigned. This court issued a $15,000 10% fine. And there was a surety bond posted. And it showed a Zoom ID. So Mr. Browley zoomed in from what he claimed was a hotel room at the Wyndham Garden in Romulus. This court advised Mr. Browley he was to appear in person.
Oh, I think this is the back half of this case.
This court ordered Mr. Browley to appear in person. And the court, as of 4:30 p.m., defendant had not appeared. And due to Mr. Browley's criminal history as well as the danger to the community, the court issued a warrant immediately. The case had not been called on the record. And counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. In fact, if the court may recall, I was present in court on other matters that afternoon. I've spoken to Mr. Brownlee. I see that a warrant was issued and its bond was set at $25,000, 10%. And he was picked up, I guess, by the Brownstown or some other police department. Your Honor, I've spoken to Mr. Brownlee. He indicates obviously that this was a problem that he created. However, those problems were, and it was not an attempt to affront the court. We're asking that the original bond of 10%, the original bond of $15,000, 10% or the bond be reinstated and he be allowed to appear at another pretrial. Of course, this would be in person. Is that correct, Mr. Brownlee?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Well, Mr. Goldpaw, what you may or may not be aware of is Mr. Brownlee has a matter in the 25th District Court to which Judge Clifton had to recuse himself. The whole court was disqualified because of the named victim. If there was a conflict with the named victim, so that matter got reassigned to this court. So the very next day after December 12th, this court sat at the 25th District Court for Mr. Brownlee's case there. That was in person. Never a question as whether that was a Zoom or not. And he didn't show up for that one either. And so I had to sit for a case in Southgate today. And then Mr. Brownlee appeared on Zoom over there for an arraignment on his matter from the 25th District Court because Mr. Holmberg was already over there as the MIDC attorney. Now, Mr. Brownlee, where was it that you were at on December 20th when you zoomed in?
When I zoomed in for court, ma'am, I was at the Wyndham Gardens Hotel in Romulus, Michigan.
Your Honor, Mr. Brownlee, Your Honor, did you say the 20th or did you mean the 12th?
I'm sorry, the 12th. The 12th.
Thank you.
And that was my last day at that hotel. After that, I was homeless for 2 days, and then finally I was able to reach out to my family and just beg them for help.
Okay, sir. Let me be very clear to you. Let me be very clear. You may think I might be naive, an idiot, I don't know. But I'm very well aware that the Wyndham Garden does not have ceiling fans. you, sir?
I'm being honest with you. I don't know why you're making me or trying to make me think that I want you to think that you're naive or anything along those lines. I think of nothing but respect for you. And I'm being honest. To be completely fair with you today, I honestly wanted just to retract my not guilty plea, have a one-on-one negotiation with you so we can get to a global resolution in this case. And then that way, you know what I'm saying, it makes the court's life and my life easier for me to move on and try to become a better person when I get out of jail. Knowing that I have another court case pending that does and will have restitution enabled, I understand that you don't like sentencing without an updated PSI. Although I wish for you to understand that if you would be willing to just accept my guilty plea for the driving while license suspended, loitering, and for the paraphernalia, I'm not asking anything from you except for just for you to impose your disposition so we can get this case cleared. Just leaving just the rest of it go.
So let me be very clear. Perhaps to your surprise, perhaps not, I don't know. But I contacted the Wyndham Garden Hotel because I wanted to confirm if in fact you were there. They would not confirm if you were there or not. But then I went one step further and asked, is any of the rooms have tunes in? And the lady laughed at me and said, absolutely not. So you were not there. You were not in the Wyndham Garden in Romulus. So where were you? You want this court to believe you for credibility purposes when I'm assessing bond. Where were you?
I was at that building. There's two sets of hotels within the same parking structure. They just bought out the new one. I had gotten a week's stay, and then one over while they're renovating that's half done. That's the one I got, and I got a good rate on it for only $250 a month or $250 a week. I'm telling you, I'm not lying to you. My grandfather.
$250 for the week at the Wyndham Garden.
Yes, normally we were paying $325, and that was the best rate we were getting on Priceline.com. I'm telling you that I'm not lying to you. I have no reason to lie and specify a certain place that I wasn't at. I'm being honest with you. I'm 100 with you. And at the end of the day, like I said, I'm not trying to revert anything more with you. I really honestly wish you could allow me to, accept my guilty plea today so that we can just get started over with. I am clean. I'm not doing any drugs.
He's guilty.
I want to get my life in order. I want to eventually get out of this situation so I can go back to work, try to help the girls pay their property taxes so we can at least get back into the home somehow. I mean, I got to do something responsible. To me, just accepting guilt, taking accountability today to you, that's the best I can do. Would you be willing to accept that? Because I was driving while my license was suspended knowingly. I did have a chore boy, which was a part of a crack pipe in my person. And I was around somebody who did have drugs on them. Nobody made any promises or threats for me to make this today. This is honestly like the best I can to stand up and be an adult and take accountability for my actions. Please let me go home.
Yes, Your Honor. If the court wishes to have their plea withdrawn, allow him to enter that plea. I have not discussed this with him. I'm here only for his bond issue. But obviously, at this point, he can, I guess, do what he wishes with respect to that. If the court wishes to, he obviously knows all of his responsibilities. He also knows the consequences. And there's always the possibility that you may send him to jail for those violations. I don't think that I have the ability or even the authority, I'm using that word, to say he can't enter into a plea.
Okay, Mr. Brownlee, you'd like to enter into a plea. On all these matters, you want to enter into a plea of guilty.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, raise your right hand. Solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give this matter to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do, Your Honor.
All right, would you like an opportunity to speak to your attorney further?
No, ma'am.
All right, sir, as to count A, driving while unlicensed, how do you plead?
Guilty, Your Honor.
As to count B, possession of drug paraphernalia, how do you plead?
Guilty as charged, Your Honor.
As to loading of drugs or illegally kept, stored, or used, how do you plead?
Guilty as charged, Your Honor.
And you've gone over your advice of rights with your attorney, correct?
I have.
You understand that you have the right to have a trial in this matter by entering into a plea and not have that trial.
I do.
You also understand that you have the right to have this matter set for a pre-trial, so we don't have to enter into a plea today.
I do.
And you also understand the possible penalty as a result of your plea, whether in this court, any other court, or administrative agency.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And knowing all that, you want to continue with your plea.
Correct. Nobody made me make any threats or promises for me to make this plea. It was 100% willing of my own volitions.
Okay, and there aren't any immigration issues I recall from the last time. And okay, so you're making this plea knowingly, voluntarily.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And Mr. Goldfarb, would you like me to do your claim?
I was provided, Your Honor, I was provided with a registration of action, so I have the registration, so I know the dates.
Okay.
Mr. Brownlee, on 11/30/23, were you driving without a valid driver's license? That was suspended.
I was.
And on the same date and time, were you in the possession of drug paraphernalia?
Yes, sir.
And what was that drug paraphernalia?
It was a screen for a crack cocaine pipe.
Thank you. And were you loitering in a place where drugs were kept?
I was.
And you were aware that those drugs were being kept there, and you nevertheless loitered in that location. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Thank you. Been satisfied, Your Honor. I'm sorry, Your Honor. And when you were driving without a license, you knew you did not have a driver's license. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Been satisfied, Your Honor.
All right, the court is also satisfied the plea is knowing, voluntary, and factually accurate. The court will accept your plea on all counts. And counsel, are you asking for immediate sentencing, or would you like me to schedule this for sentencing?
Well, Your Honor,
I would like immediate sentencing, Your Honor.
there you go, Your Honor. He would like immediate sentencing. And the court is obviously aware of the circumstances, having reviewed all these matters.
Okay. What the court is also aware of is that Mr. Brownlee has been sentenced in this court to jail time for his possession resisting or obstructing an officer matter. It looks as though the possession was dismissed, and he was released from jail. If I recall correctly, it was about 5 to 7 days before this incident on November 30th. Would that be correct, sir?
It is, Your Honor. I'm at your disposal 100% for whatever you feel is fair and fit for me to get to the next step for myself.
Okay. And then Mr. Brownlee is arrested, and again with drug paraphernalia, and with two of the 3 individuals he was with were also with him at the last time that he had his matter with the possession and the resisting and obstructing. And so based upon that recent conviction and jail time, and as well as Mr. Brownlee's criminal history, this court is going to sentence Mr. Brownlee to 93 days jail.
Yep.
Which which is the maximum that this court can sentence him to.
May I receive the credit from the 30th to the point in time that I had bonded out?
We would be asking for that, Your Honor. Credit for that time served that he's been incarcerated.
You get credit for 6 days, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
And Your Honor, those are 93 days on each matter to run concurrent.
Your Honor, you can make them consecutive.
93 days each count.
Consecutive, come on. Say it.
Court will order that as concurrent.
Oh.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Consecutive is my turn.
May I ask one more question, Your Honor?
Please don't.
Yes, sir.
Is there any way that you would make...
I'm sorry, I lost him there, Your Honor.
Yeah, so did I.
I have no idea where, okay, hold on, he's back to here.
Happened on our end.
Okay, I'm sorry, what was that, sir?
Okay, my question was for you, is there any way that you'd be able to extend yourself in terms for, would you allow a monetary exchange for the days that I would have to serve? Maybe half, where I would maybe get a 45 days reduced if I would be willing to or able to pay $500, something to that effect.
Absolutely not, sir, we're not bartering. Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Yes, ma'am.
Perhaps you may want to ask for treatment while you're in custody because you weren't even out a week and you have the same type of offense. So no, there's no bartering. There's no money in exchange for not going to jail. No. And in fact, the court's suspending your fines and costs, so you don't even have to worry about that.
I understand. It was just a simple question. I did not mean to disrespect you.
Yes, he did.
No disrespect. Let's get it.
Yes, he did, Your Honor. He
So,
definitely
thank you,
took
Your
it.
Honor.
All right. Have a good day. Off the record.
And Your Honor, as I said earlier today, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I will see you after the first of the year, unless I get another.
Hold on, I thought you're back tomorrow.
No, I'm not there tomorrow, Your Honor.
Well, return our computer mouse, please, before you go anywhere else.
I know, I will make sure that it gets delivered. Sorry about that.
Return the court's laptop, please.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, return the court's laptop. Okay, with that, we will bring this day to a close here on From Day One. We are inside of 500. Uses all we need left to get that 50,000 point, where we can go ahead and get those presents from Boxy. I'd love it to happen over this holiday break so that we can have it before the first of the year. Till then, please make sure you do like, share, and subscribe. Be kind to one another, and definitely release those Krakens as we march along this day and every day here from Day One. Have the best of nights, and we thank you once again tomorrow.